Well, hi there, friends. Welcome back to the program. My name is Dean, and we are everywhere today. Everywhere. You know, we're like bed bugs. Locke, are you playing something there?
Welcome to the program. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's my
Are you watching some anime as we start
just
the program?
my Cyndi Lauper mix. Sorry.
Were you really listening? Was that Cyndi Lauper? Like, you chose to listen to that? Is that correct? True Colors? Is that?
Yeah. Sometimes people show their true colors.
That's a good one. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show. That's Lachlan Cross. My name is Dean. That is James D. Fiore, Blackballed the podcast. And, of course, she needs no introduction. At Caryma Rules on Twitter. She's in Ottawa. Caryma Sod, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we waxed a little bit about the Fifth Estate following you around the other day, but you know how big of a deal you are in this country, right?
I don't want to overblow what it is that I do, but I'm glad that it's clicking and that people are following what is happening in Ottawa.
Yeah. Yeah, but nice, great, good stuff, but you do know you're kind of a big deal.
You're a rock star.
Yeah.
Thanks,
yeah,
guys.
Big time. So how are you? And let's start there, I guess. Like, notices went out yesterday. We covered it. We didn't get a chance to catch up with you yesterday. You're in Ottawa. D-Day, notices yesterday, more tickets and stuff. What's happening on the streets of Ottawa? We're hearing Emergency Act passed. Fuck, let's go. It's happening. Is that correct? 11th hour? Are we there?
I think we really are. So yesterday there were a lot of notices, as you mentioned, handed out by police. Mostly the reception was negative. A lot of people just crumpling them up, saying, "Why are you littering? Don't like," which is, you've been idling for 3 weeks with your diesel vehicle. But anyway, and there's this really bizarre, and I think it's tied to some sovereign citizenship ideas about the import of signatures, but this idea that because the notice isn't signed, it's not valid. In fact, the notice is not even strictly legally required. It's being done as a courtesy. It's being done to try to get people to leave voluntarily, but they could crack down at any minute, and you being ignorant about the law is not a defense. So today, it was much of the same. They've put up fences now around Parliament Hill, and I've seen more ticketing than I have in the past 3 weeks combined. So I think that we're getting very close.
What, just this morning you've seen more ticketing than you've seen in the last 3 weeks since you've been in Ottawa?
Yes.
Police if you go to presence
going on.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
That's what I was watching today earlier.
What is the back to the fence? Just a quick note, because you put up a couple of videos of some people putting up fences. There was a really nice altercation with some alt media guy that I thought was funny. They hugged at the end. Nice. But are they putting fences up around these people, or are they putting fences up in front of Parliament so they can't get into Parliament? What is, like, because I was watching them put the fence up, and I'm like, ooh, if they put it around everybody, they can kind of kettle everybody into the same area, right?
That would make sense. That's kind of how I thought fences would be used. So far, it's to protect Parliament, which, is, I suppose, also good. But it's not to sort of block access on the streets or to restrict entry or traffic. It's just around Parliament. And last I saw, there's just one gate that's left open. So you can still access it, but I don't know if they're going to close that off too.
Now, is there a rush of people trying to come in this weekend? Is that why the rush is on today? Because I know they batted it around in the House of Commons today, and Candace Bergen was like, "Leave them alone," and everybody's like, "Go fuck yourself. We're going in there to take them out." But that happened today, so that was a key proponent, right? It had to pass, which it did pass, which means everybody has the resources to be able to deal with this. And Locke asked a question about police presence. Is it just Ottawa Police, or who have you seen that's come in?
It hasn't been just Ottawa Police since probably day 2 or 3. I've seen officers from Durham, from York, from Hamilton, from Sudbury. I'm probably missing a few, I think Niagara. And that like presence has been fairly steady, I would say. There's OPP as well. And generally, up to this point, they've just been sort of roaming around in like little battalion squads of 8, anywhere 4 to 10 officers, just maintaining sort of a visible presence, but not actually doing all that much to the naked eye. And I don't know sort of how that will change with the new level of gravitas, I guess, that the Emergencies Act provides.
It's a great point. Great point. And as you talk about, not just what's going to happen today, and my sources tell me it's today, tonight, sometime, so they can get ahead of this before the weekend, because I think a lot of people are planning on coming here this weekend, right?
They're already too late, in my humble opinion. And again, I'm not operations, so what do I actually know? Nothing. But my observation has been that Friday afternoon is where it really starts to pick up. And by that point, people have already made their reservations. They're already planning to come. So, this to me still is a multi-day operation to actually remove all of these trucks, assuming that they aren't going on their own and they need to be towed. And so that's something that, to my mind, would have to start on a Sunday, Monday in order to get it empty by the weekend. So quite possibly they do a brutal crackdown today and tomorrow such that people are deterred from coming. I'm not ruling that possibility out. But it's just, it seems that would be a pendulum swing way in the other direction. And at this point, they might say, rather than risk being overwhelmed on the weekend, and, there's a lot of volatility that comes out with that, if the sort of concerns about weapons or people acting violently like that only increases when you have so many more people, right? It's easier to empty it if you're just dealing with a couple of hundred rather than several thousand. So I don't know. And your sources may well be right. And it's not impossible that they clear it or send a strong enough message that people don't show up on the weekend. But I thought it's too late.
To get the action started, you mean, is too late? Not too late.
Like that. That's not a Thursday when it's raining kind of thing. That's right. Sunday night, early Monday morning. Go for 3 days solid, and then by Thursday it's a shell, right?
Yeah.
Like now it's still there's still a stage. Pastor Henry Hildebrandt was on the stage, not an hour and a half ago. Like it's still bumping.
Yeah.
You know what's weird about this is that if it was 10,000 Jamaican protesters, I know it would be different. And I know it would be unfairly different. And so I look at this and I'm of the mind that this is a case study and a prototype for how they should treat Black Lives Matter protests or environmental protests or indigenous protests.
Just let them move in.
From here on in. Not let them move in, but make it so that, listen, I'm a firm believer that 9 times out of 10, when something happens at a protest between police and protesters, that it's due to police aggression. I'm just programmed that way. It just feels that way. Like it feels like eventually their tolerance level goes away and then they decide, okay, we've had enough. Let's do it now. No one's been injured. And I can't stress that enough. I'm not praising anything. I'm just saying no one's been really seriously injured. No cops have been taken to the hospital. No protesters have died. If you count a successful protest measured by those types of data points, then I think you can't really argue with what's happened so far. But I'm just saying,
protests normally don't last a month.
James is right, though, in the sense that police have shown that they are capable of exercising
and letting them take over a city.
Wild amounts of discretion and de-escalation and stand back and allow the citizens to speak, which I think was at inappropriate levels here. But yeah, choices are made when you have thousands of Jamaicans who would be protesting or even just celebrating, like in Caravana. You have a very different response.
Mm-hmm. Locke, you wanted to ask a question?
Sorry. Well, my problem with this is that it's not like they took up a park just outside of Edmonton. They're in the nation's, and I keep saying this out loud. I keep like interjecting this when we're having conversations about it, more so to be a dick. But this is Ottawa. They took over the capital of our country. They didn't take it over.
They did not take
totally
it over.
taking it over.
Yeah, they did.
Do you know?
They've taken
I don't know what you mean by take it over because
it was silver platter to them. No, but they run the streets.
They let them park.
They run the streets. They run the streets. How do they run the streets?
Across How do they run the from streets? The ledge.
Yeah, I want to go back to Lachlan, but to James's question that they might not be taking over the city. They do run the streets. They run that entire area in front of Parliament. Nobody's been able to do anything. Anything is gone. It's been a fucking chaotic.
That's not because
mess.
They're so powerful. That's because the police have made a conscious decision not to enter the area as to not escalate.
It's the nation's capital.
Yeah. It comes to the same thing, though, right? They didn't take anything over by force, but they were able to set up their own little community infrastructure and have a city within a city that residents are, I think, by and large, uncomfortable walking through, unless they are mentally braced for some kind of an encounter or they're not wearing a mask and, don't stand out. So they have their own little food. They have their own sanitation systems to some degree. They have their own patrols, right? And like I myself have had my movements policed by these not like these self-deputized
the police force
people.
Did you get have you been spied on by the occupational police force?
Hey, what are you doing? You're the wrong
police
color.
Force.
I've been good. No, I've been a good girl. But I have had my movement sort of questioned. It's like, okay, I could fight you, but like I'm not going to do that. So
Dukes up, Caryma.
My money's on you.
I have noodle arms. I would not fare well in a fight.
Okay. I just wanted to say something. I think we're missing the point of this. It's the fucking nation's capital. Okay, they've barricaded the ledge, not for any other reason other than they're going to move in, they're going to start moving trucks, and they're worried that these guys are going to start doing property damage. That's why they're putting fences up right now, right? And the other thing that I was hearing today was that there was some sort of a unified police force that had been set up, and Caryma alluded to the fact that may have happened a week or two ago. But have you seen any signs of some sort of coordinated effort, like an encampment within the area that might be sort of like a checkpoint for the police in an attempt to like move into this group and
like
some
sort of forward operating base for the police you're talking about?
I don't know the technical terms for it.
I don't either. I made that one up.
Not that I've come across yet. That's not to say it doesn't exist, just that sort of in my, like, I don't have a full bird's eye view, right? So like my view is actually quite myopic because I'm in it. So I don't know what's happening in the city outside of this. In the immediate sort of vicinity, I haven't noticed like the battalion of buses that people were describing or like some kind of headquarters or anything like that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because they did talk. I heard a story. Well, I read a story this morning about the fact that the police have been working together, and it wasn't like just the Ottawa police. It was all these different detachments have sort of created this unified body, and they did it like quite some time ago, and they have actually been trying to come up with a plan to get them out of Ottawa. I have one question. Have you seen any sign of like weapons or anything like that?
I haven't. Okay. I can't imagine that that's something that would be sort of dangled around. They're careless with a lot of things, but that to me just seems like basic. Duh, don't do that. So I haven't. And I hope not to.
You say it seems basic around this crowd, but I mean, you're talking about these guys here, right? These are the people.
It's not that warm here. Like it is like a balmy, like maybe a +2 or something right now, but like still.
Yeah,
Well, when
James,
your brain
sorry,
is
go ahead.
disconnected from your
that's okay.
spine,
I was
I'm not
just-
exactly sure that you feel as much as everybody else. Sorry,
You know
James.
what?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Because I was going to say that picture. I have something else I want to say, but the picture to me is just like, it makes me relieved. That guy's not taking over shit. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. I am not worried about.
We know
I'm not
that.
worried
We
about
know
him.
none of these yahoos are taking
know.
over anything. I'm trying to correlate an opinion on like these guys. They're not going anywhere. Like when you talk,
we
like
have
case in
two
point. Let me play you
examples.
this video real quick. Let me
Okay.
play this video, and then we'll get to it because like all this stuff is going on around him. And you know, the Q Shaman Canadian version of the Q Shaman was standing up on the screen. This is from Caryma's feed at Caryma Rules on Twitter. He's like, go fuck yourself. I'm not going anywhere.
I love you all. I just want to say I love everybody, and I'm here. I want to thank everybody for showing up. It's been an amazing time. And just so everyone knows, I ain't leaving. Freedom!
Anyway, he's not leaving. Sorry, James. Go ahead.
No, that's
Way
okay.
better in his mom's basement.
So I've been thinking about two things lately. One is that I was like, where have I seen this before? And the first one was Occupy Wall Street, and then the other one was Portland. And I like to play this game where it's like if I like a politician or something, which is very rare, but I try to look at what the angle that they came at an issue, and I try to like find the polar opposite angle and see if I lean one way or the other on my support for whatever it is. So I'm like, I close my eyes and I imagine the Portland situation, and if all those people were these people, what we'd be saying. And we'd be like, this is the fucking apocalypse. This is Mad Max. Oh my fucking God. What are we going to do about this? And I'm just a little bit, I don't see this being like the evil convoy. I see it being the Carney convoy. Like it doesn't, I'm not afraid of it. You know?
I think that's partially deliberate though. And you know, like there's, I think probably a distinction to be made between the organizers who we know and are aware of and who are sort of the face of this, the people behind them, because I have a lot of trouble believing this is Tamara Lich's brainchild in any fashion. And then the people who are sort of buying into the movement and buying into the very simplistic messaging. And even within that, you have factions. So yes, there is very much a Carney vibe, but I think important not to forget that sort of the overall, like it's more sinister where it comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what's driving this and who's driving this, and I know you got to go, but folks, please follow Caryma at Caryma Rules on Twitter. She is incredible. I don't need to tell you how incredible she is, otherwise she's going to get a big head and there'll be no living with her anymore. So thank you very much.
Why are you dressed up?
Yeah,
something going on?
I was on the agenda today.
Yeah,
and I just didn't take my blazer off because I
Steve
wanted
is
to
such a
nice
good
for you
interviewer.
guys.
she's a lawyer. She's still doing law work while she's up there covering this shit. She's a moonlighter, really.
I have 3 things here. So one is that Never Give Up shirt, which I think I've worn like 3 times on the podcast.
Yeah,
and then one is this black shirt. And then I put
when
on
your
a blazer
line of
today.
capes come out, oh my God, you're gonna be.
I do that
fucking set
too.
for life.
I do that too because I only have black T-shirts, but I have like several coats and blazers that I wear with them. Right, so they're like, "Ooh, you look great today." I'm like, I'm legitimately wearing the exact same thing I wear every day, but I'm just putting on a coat. It's like a psyops move, fashion. Caryma Rules, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being
Bye,
here.
guys.
Okay, take care. That is Caryma Saad, ladies and gentlemen, who is a rock star.
You know what I love about Caryma
Rockstar.
is that she can just make one comment and just cut you off at the knees. But it doesn't seem like you have to really pay attention to know that she's done it. Right? Like, and
Sorta
she
like
just sort
me.
of she just sort of subtly
subtle.
floats shit out there. And you're like, hold on.
Yeah. Did she just tell us all we're fucking idiots in the nicest possible way?
No.
She sure did.
She would never do that. That's what's brilliant about Caryma.
She's awesome. It's a shame she had to go because we got some legal stuff to talk about and some other videos to play. What do you guys want to do first? Do you want to dig into the $306 million lawsuit that is facing every single person attached to this thing, including those who donated? Or do you want to get to the list of demands from the convoy folks? And some Pat
Let's go
King
lawsuit
videos
first because I'm so confused.
Let's go lawsuit.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go lawsuit.
I'm very confused.
Paul Champ is the lawyer of record for the class action lawsuit, and they filed this in Supreme Court of Ontario today. Proposed class action lawsuit over Ottawa protests, adding Union 613 Happy Goat Coffee as plaintiffs to join the billions of others of Ottawa citizens. As the claim expands to include a class of businesses, claim is now up to $306 million. Now, before you go, whatever, it's not a big deal. This is fucking massive. For the next question, this is Glenn McGregor's work from CTV. He's one of the good guys out there trying to do God's work. Glenn then lets us know lawyer Paul Champ, the lawyer of record here, has added protest donors and individual truckers as defendants, and he tells them they need to leave town now and offers to settle with them individually if they come forward now. Quote, "We will find you."
Do you have his video? Do you have Paul's?
Not only do I have the video, let me set the video up with this one little thing that Rob Gill, our buddy Rob Gill, put up. This is legitimately from them. They are looking for people according to area codes. These are all the people they've found already. This is just in Niagara Falls. They are not fucking around. To the point where Paul Champ went on his own Twitter handle this morning, and he was like, here's the deal. I am not fucking cool with any of this stuff. And to the point where he had, and I don't know if I don't get scared often, but if I was part of this convoy, I would be shitting my fucking pants. Watch the video.
It's time to go home. And when you get home, I strongly recommend you hire your own lawyer. You get some independent legal advice. Don't listen anymore to the organizers. You need to get your own independent advice. You've been led down a path that unfortunately is going to cause you some serious financial consequences. If you do get a lawyer, I recommend that you advise that lawyer to reach out to me. We're prepared for those who contact us early to discuss early settlement. But if you don't, make no mistake, this is not going to be over when the trucks finally leave, when the last car horn blares.
He's pissed.
He's not fucking around either. He's a big-time lawyer.
Any explanation as to, and maybe James does, I know we're not legal beagles here on the Dean Blundell Podcast Network.
Dude, I watched Matlock last night on a rerun on TCM.
Okay, you're the guy. Okay,
yeah.
So here's my question.
I fold.
If I give to something that I care about, like a cause, whatever it is, like, I don't know, maybe they're building schools in Africa, and for some reason it goes sideways. Like, I don't understand how.
It's a stunt. That's all.
I don't know.
Well, I thought it was
the donors are legally responsible for
imagine
the
the precedent that this would set. Imagine, because it's
I
not
don't
always
get
going to
it.
be right. It's not always going to be right-wing protesters. We always have to remember this. That like whatever we do now could impact people who are protesting worthwhile civil rights issues and stuff like that.
Why did they think it's legally acceptable to go after and sue somebody that gave $55 from Niagara Falls?
No one cares about the protesters.
I think. Well, hold it. I think two things. I think James might not be wrong, and I think the other thing here, which is really important to keep in mind, James might not.
You know
be
what
wrong.
I really like, guys? The way it pains both of you to know that sometimes.
When you're
I
right,
love that.
yeah, I know it sucks. But James might be right, and when I look at that, and we may or may not be involved in this, and I don't want to give up any more information, but when I look at that, because they've affected us negatively with all the pedophile shit, which is just fucking childish, but you know, if you can make people
that I get.
Oh, was that a joke?
That
was
I
a joke?
understand.
Pedophilia
No,
is
it's
childish?
for real.
No, that's not.
No, that wasn't. It was
pretty good
just
joke.
stupid of my part. Yeah, it was
Not a
just
bad
dumb. But no, I look at this differently, and here's why I look at it differently. Because I think what they're doing is one of those big paintbrush swaths, right? To James's point, it's PR. And the reason why they're doing it is they're trying to get some kind of upper hand collectively. So this is also part of the strategy, right? Tell these people they're in fucking deep financial trouble if they don't leave. And if they don't leave, hold their feet to the fire. But he's not really wanting to, like, he's not going after Johnny Appleseed in Wingham, Ontario for donating $10. What he's doing is going after the people that donated to these organizers, knowing what these organizers were trying to accomplish. So I think there's going to be a sluicing through this whole process where,
Okay.
normal people who just donated, who were legitimately, because there are a lot of people out there that legitimately thought this was a trucker movement. It is not. This was alt-right supremacists, alt-white supremacists like Ben Dichter, Tamara Lich, Pat King, Chris Barber, and all those guys being co-opted, as we've said many times, by Mega Nation and some fucking tools and dark money. And that's the donation money they want to penalize people for.
So it's
the dark money.
It's not going to be one of those things where Bertha goes to the mailbox and gets a letter and then walks into the house and goes, Terry, what's this? Why are we being sued?
By the government.
So they don't care about Terry and Bertha?
I don't think they do, depending on intention, but that's part of the investigation, right? My understanding, again, is that you need to investigate every single person, and there are 92,000 people that had donated to this, but 75% of that money came from the United States of America, and 80% of the people who gave that money came from the United States of America. So this was, as James said, and he's right, and it doesn't pain me to say it, James, this was a big PR thing, but behind that big PR thing, there's like a bunch of dogs, and they're going to open the door, and those dogs are going to go after those people, man. It is not, like, this is, and it's not just the people that donated.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking more about the dark money that came in from the United States.
Money.
Even the dark money, like what law are they violating? I just don't know. I don't know.
Well, my understanding is since the FBI and CSIS have, and I said this on Twitter last night, why the fuck do you think the FBI and CSIS have frozen every bank account of almost every single person of business that is involved in this from that standpoint?
Because it was declared a national security threat by both the United States and Canada, probably, and they used that to ride every decision.
They did that a week and a half ago. They did that
that's
a
what
week
I mean.
and a half ago. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, once you do that, you can do anything, right? Like,
yeah. But do you think it was just because the FBI and CSIS and all the governments hate truckers and freedom?
No, but I do think it's because they're not a left-wing protest group. If they behaved exactly the same and it was a left-wing issue, I don't think they would have had it frozen.
You're not wrong, James, but the reason why I hate opening up that can of worms is because it's
the most interesting can.
Leads us down a path, right? That
it's all hypothetical shit. Like
it's not hypothetical. It's hypocrisy. Yeah, Look what happens. It's
total hypocrisy,
dude. It is, but it is hypocrisy because we've got a million different examples. Like, it's funny how that's kind of the cracker here in the snack, right? It's like, what if these people were black? Oh, I don't mean that. Like, it's the cracker in the snack. It's like, well, what about black people? They'd be kettled. What about brown people? They'd be kettled. What about
but those are good points. But people are strange. It's weird because, like, I guess it's emotion or something. But rather than look at this situation like moving forward, that's exactly how they should treat protests that have people of color or whatever or left wing issues. Instead, there's a lot of people going, why aren't they fucking them up? And it's like, we don't really want them to fuck them up. It's like, because the important part isn't who's getting fucked up. The important part is that someone's getting fucked up. Like, it's the fucked up part, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like me. Someone was saying, "Hey, you excited to see the show today?" And I'm like, personally, I am. I'm not unhappy with what's going on down there.
No, me neither. But I'm trying to just pump the brakes a little bit on the hate mail that's coming at me on social media and everything too, because I mean, every time I finish one of these podcasts, I got some level of hatred.
I've been called a shill already in chat, so.
Oh, I forgot we had chat.
I've been ignoring the chat because of the divisiveness of this conversation, right? But so I don't know if, like, I've got a really good friend, and I keep bringing him up, Indian Al, right? And he sends me memes all the time. I love this guy, and
your universe should be a comic book, dude. Like,
he's
with all
like,
these names,
I'll show you. You want me to give you an example of how this should have been handled? And he goes, I'm going to go set up a teepee at the border. Yeah. And you watch how long I'm able to stand there with me and my brown friends, he says.
He'd be dead before he started the campfire.
Well, and he's not wrong. I just don't even know, James, I don't even know where to go with that conversation. is this happening because these are white nationalists, or
Maybe, but the
It might
motivation
be.
for me isn't as important as the evidence that a non-aggressive police force, whether you like that they're still there or not, has arguably been one of the main reasons why there hasn't been any violence. And so I think that if you want to move forward, you can still feel how you feel about any issue. But this was a great, that has been a silver lining, is what I would say, I think.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I wouldn't disagree with what you said there. So that's 2 times I have to almost agree.
But that's why I don't want to bring race into it, because I think a big part of the reason why there hasn't been is because of how
how white the crowd is.
Well, how white the crowd is. No, because of how the police, you're trying to bait me. It's how the police have handled this, yet the police are getting like crucified in the press right now about how they've handled this.
Yeah.
It's weird.
There's a linchpin in this. There's probably a couple of them that I'm very interested to find out about. Like, yesterday, Tamara Tamara Lich is her name. She's one of the organizers of this. She was the first person who put her name on the convoy money that got taken by CSIS and the FBI. It's so funny. And she's a Maverick Party person. She was one of the Yellow Vesters. Long story short, Tamara Lich posted this video last night. She's apparently been told she's going to jail today. So I want to play this for you, and I want to get everybody's thoughts.
There's a pretty good chance. Well, I think it's inevitable at this point. But I'll probably be going somewhere tomorrow where I'll be getting 3 square meals a day. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. And I want you to know that I'm not afraid.
I know I cry uncontrollably when I'm not afraid too.
Every video I see of her, she's weeping uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Like
crocodile tears.
I mean, I don't know what she's crying about. She's going to get 3 square meals a day.
She's excited. Probably more meals than she's had a day in the last 12 years of her life. But imagine learning about natural consequences in your 60s.
But what crime did she commit? I'm just so confused about what crimes have been committed here, and I'm totally willing to say, obviously that's a crime. I just don't know what
James, I think we're going to find out. And when you coordinate with people in another country to bring your anger to the footsteps of the capital of this fucking country, and you fundraise over $20 million, and over 80% of that money came from foreign actors, you have a fucking major problem on your hands. Major. We get caught up in the crying. We get caught up in the, why are we listening to these people? I get it. Listen, these people are so pissed about getting none of their wants met, even though all their needs are met on a daily basis, that they did this on purpose. They made terrible decisions, and they developed very dark relationships for the insidious purpose of going to the Capitol to act like cocksuckers. And they funded it. They have little cities. They have forward operating bases to cripple this country. They crippled border crossings across the country for fucking a week and a half. Like, and we lost billions, and people lost their jobs, and children are being, dude, this is this morning. This picture of a kid with a jerry can on a backpack being like used either as a decoy or B, a diesel fuel mule. Like, this is
are we sure that's not a Kanye West knapsack? Because that could
it's pretty cool. It's got the hinge on the back and stuff. But even as a decoy, it's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. And
they'll be selling them at Winners in September.
We're going to find out, the occupation backpack. We're going to find out in the next coming weeks exactly who the people are, where the relationships ended up, who they were working with, the Sebastian Gorkas and the Mike Flynns and all the fucking crazy people that just want this world to be a little more Christ-like, to the point where, let me just play this video, okay? And this video makes me, I don't know if it makes me laugh or makes me feel like, oh, fuck, Dean, you nailed this at the very start. Like, you knew what was going on. Like, I read an article this morning and someone was like, I'm starting to see the religious extremism in this group.
That was me a month ago.
I'm starting to see it. I didn't see it before.
Hasn't
This
it
is
been
what it's
fucking
all about.
obvious, like from
This
the
is-
beginning?
Yeah, well, it has been for us. This is Henry Hillebrand on stage like an hour and a half ago. Again, this is from Caryma's video at Caryma Rules on Twitter. Watch this.
I have a word of advice for every MP that is in there. Just join God's community. We have felt the love. We have felt no fear. We have been given the spirit of power, the spirit of love.
Jesus Christ.
For 2 years, they have tried to extinguish it and to rearrange it and to change it. And today we are living witness of what God intended for us to be. Welcome, welcome.
I like that the sign on the side.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck
I'm
off,
with you.
Trudeau.
Fuck them all of them. Honestly.
Yeah, now we got James.
Why didn't
James,
they?
he's
I didn't
back
hear
on
one
board.
boo. That's what pisses me off about that. I didn't hear one person be like, boo, hiss. You know, like, you don't want, look, like I can take stupid people who don't believe in science and conspiracy theories and stuff like that. But that guy was like an extra Footloose, that stand-in for that guy or something. Like, he just seems so cartoon-like.
He's a
like,
fuck.
Ugh.
He's
There's a
a
guy-
fucking religious extremist, and all these people are listening to him. He was given time to say, hey, everybody, we need to go in there and tell all the MPs to join God's community because this nation needs the foundation of Jesus Christ. That's what this movement's all about. Those people have done this to us and made us all feel a little less safe and made us
He's
all made us
crazy.
fucking lose jobs and shit.
He's like
In
what
the name of
happens when a
Jesus.
snake handler gets bitten but doesn't die. That's what they turn into. Like, just crazy.
There's a guy in
bipolar or
Edmonton
something.
that has a soapbox and a megaphone, and he preaches the gospel on a street corner. And every time I've seen him, I swear to God, like, because he's loud and he's like yelling down the street. Every time I've seen him, which is 3-4 times since I've lived here since 2006, and it's always the same guy. It's always the same spot too. Somebody will yell out, "Shut the fuck up!" I hear that every time. Somebody will like roll down a window when they're driving by. Shut the fuck up!
You're welcome.
That's who these people are, and those are the relationships, those religious extremist relationships between the United States, Canada, and like, you're going to see all that come out. And is Tamara Lich scared? I hope so. I hope she's scared. I hope every single person involved in making this country feel unsafe and hurting people to just fucking prove a point because you didn't get your wants met. I hope you're scared. To the point where we rejigged the video that she put out. Let me play this for you. This is a nice one.
There's a pretty good chance. Well, I think it's inevitable at this point. But I'll probably
shouldn't
be
be
going
funny.
somewhere tomorrow where I'll be getting 3 square meals a day. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I want you to know that I am not afraid.
That
She's
shouldn't
still
be funny.
grifting.
That shouldn't be
She's still
funny.
grifting.
Why
Did
is
you
that
see-
funny?
Because it's the best.
Yeah.
Lindley did it for us last night. I'm like, can you do something with this? He goes, horns? I'm like, fuck yes.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be just horns throughout the entire thing, and she's just like,
Yeah. We have that one too. That's on the
Oh,
dblundell.com account. Yeah. But they're all bugging out, dude. Like, she got told she's going to jail. And then your boy Pat King, did you see him yesterday? Go, I'm out of here, everyone. Did you see that?
He didn't leave.
convoy? What convoy? I don't know anything about a convoy.
Well, here's the best part. This guy's like the most virulent racist. He's the muscle in the convoy group. He's the head of security. That's what they call him, the convoy group. This is him yesterday finding out everybody's getting arrested and they're all going to jail. And now, and this is a great time for a guy who's a white supremacist, domestic extremist, total fucking civic agitator to then change. He changed his job title from asshole to investigative journalist. And watch this video.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be heading to. We're not walking away from this by no means. Ladies and gentlemen, I am an investigative journalist, and I think this is one of the hell of a story that I get to actually accomplish, to actually do one of 3, 4, 5 many things. I get to go to the East Coast. I get to see what's happening out there. I get to meet our fellow Maritimers. I get to see the guys in the boats. I get to see the bouncy castles with all the kids on the wharfs. They've got a big thing planned out there, and it's going to be phenomenal. So we've asked the group for permission to be able to go to New Brunswick, to go and partake and cover this story. Everybody knows I am not walking, protest at Pat's house. I dare you to come to my house.
Yeah, everybody's like, hey, we're going to come protest right in front of your house. Yeah, I fucking dare you.
Dude,
so
him
in that
calling
clip,
himself an investigative journalist is like me calling myself a fat racist with a man bun. Okay? It's like, that is not what he is, right? Like Jesus Christ.
he just, you know what, he found out last night too, the long arm of the law is going to be up his asshole working his mouth like a puppet soon. So what he did was put out a video, go, I'm just an investigative journalist and I'm leaving. Like,
Did you
We're
guys
gonna
hear
do the
about,
stories?
you guys hear about Freedom Week?
no.
What's Freedom Week is they're trying to get everyone just to not go into work next week.
Freedom Week, Reading Week. That's all.
So next week,
Not Reading Week.
If you're part of it, you're not supposed to go to work. Just stay
It's
home.
definitely, they probably were coming up with Freedom Week, and the guy's like, what about Reading Week? He was like, fuck, how many people here read?
What about not Reading Week? Well, then
What
it's just
about
the
we
same
don't
as every
read
other
week?
week, Randy.
We were talking about it this morning. I'm like, you didn't really think this one through, did you? Like, if you phone up the boss or the boss calls you and goes, why aren't you here? Freedom Week! Freedom Week! Well, we're
See you
taking it
later.
off your vacation.
Yeah, Pat wasn't done there, though. He ended up actually, I think, getting chastised to come back. And so he did. And if you haven't seen a racist who hasn't slept in a couple days with extreme paranoia and probably a fucking mitt full of Adderall and a bunch of booze and a couple packs of DeMaurier extra mild, here you go.
Adderall never bothered.
All I'm asking right now, each and every person out there, everybody pulling night shift. You're pulling a night shift tonight. Everybody's going to stay wide awake. If we got to stay up for 3 days, 4 days, it doesn't matter. You got to stay vigilant at night. Put all the booze away. Check your vehicles. Look around. Look for things underneath your vehicle. Look for things that they might have planted during the day while they were doing their patrols. When the code is that when they hear a long horn anywhere in town, long, non-stop horns, we're coming, and we're coming to you. If you see anything out of the ordinary, blow the horns.
Quite the plan, if you ask me. What a planner.
It's a Lord of the Flies plan. It really is. Blow the conch, piggy. All right.
So the
in a city where nothing that's been going on is honking, all the time. Yeah. He's like, what
Totally
do we
easy to
do?
hear.
Honk. How do we know what honk to answer? He's like, I don't know. Everybody's honking.
The long one.
That's like going to Toronto and be like, where are you going to be on the
sorry.
beach?
It's
Find
the
the
long
seagull.
one.
Just find the seagull. I'll be near the seagull at the beach.
I'll be by the sand.
That mouth movement, that's drug use, eh?
Oh, is it?
James?
I didn't. The video was frozen for me, so I only got the audio. Was he clenching his jaw?
He's like this.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's got chewing tobacco.
He got a
in
big
there.
tongue. He's got a big tongue. Maybe his tongue is too big for his mouth.
I
That
just
might
wonder
be
if,
it.
like, if he is staying
Pubes
up, if
between
he
his
is
teeth.
using something to keep himself up, like you said, like Adderall. I wonder if that's right.
Maybe, probably.
I need 7
I don't
hours
know.
sleep a night. I wouldn't be able to be the head of security.
No,
for
me
the
neither.
combo truck
What do we do?
truckers.
I don't know, man. I'm sleeping. And he took heat too, because this is actually from today. This is from early this morning. Someone was asking him what to do if the cops come around. Listen to this exchange. Fucking great.
We have a drive-down plan.
I was told one long horn was to tell everybody they were coming. Feel free to take over, man. I'll go back to bed. I've been up all night.
You go back to bed. I'm good with that. Everybody else good with that? Yeah, probably first night we've been up all the different fucking guy on it. It's smart enough. Smart. Come running in here, but you don't have a plan. Get a damn plan, and then come tell us what we need to do. This is for the safety of people, right? This isn't just for your fucking whatever you're trying to do. This is for the safety of everybody that's here. Come up with a plan so we know what the fuck we're doing.
Suck on that, eh? Like the dude has been sleeping in a hotel this whole time, and this is the sad part of this whole thing, right? Is guys like him, Ben Dichter, Tamara Lich, Chris Barber, Tom Quiggin, Tom Mazzaro, is they've co-opted some really poor, sad people that they're leaving out in the line of fire for this whole thing, and they not only don't have a plan, that is their plan, is honk if the police come around. And these guys are getting so sick of it. I got emails, and I'm not going to bring them up because some people asked me not to, from people involved in this that are like, it's a shit show. Like, these people are only trying to drive Bitcoin. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to take money from people. They're trying to prove a point, and they're making us do all the fucking work. It's a disaster down here.
That's the most interesting theory so far, though, that the 10 million is raised so that they can convert it to Bitcoin. That's pretty cool. I don't know. It just seems like more interesting than anything else so far. Like, I don't know.
No, Bitcoin's going to be a big thing here. It's going to the Bitcoin stuff is going to be a big part of this. Watch. Because Ben Dichter is all about Bitcoin and crypto and hiding money and digital funds, all of it. He's really fucking good at it too. Like one of the best.
Well, these guys, they're wired that way. They're wired that they want to overthrow the government, right? Like, I mean, that's what they think that the ultimate goal here is.
Probably why the FBI and CSIS froze all those accounts, I'm thinking.
Might be, right?
Bitcoin's not a right-wing thing, though. But like it's starting to trend among them.
For some reason, it is attracted. You know, when you look on Twitter and you see those guys that have BTC in their,
it's because it's protected.
And then they got the orange eyeballs. You know, the red glowing eyeballs. All those people are Bitcoin people, and they all hate the government. I've just found that out today. It's like that's why Bitcoin is so big, and it's big with libertarians and people that don't think the government should have anything to do with the money they make. So.
They do have avenues. From what I was hearing, the government does have avenues to shut down organizations that trade in Bitcoin, but they can't get to Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. But do you know they can cut you off in the transfer of it, but they can't actually go after it because it lives in its own sort of right, James.
Mm-hmm. I hate
Am I wrong?
Bitcoin. I don't know. Bitcoin is the most difficult thing to understand. Yeah. At some point when the dozens of times that somebody who knew what they were doing was trying to explain Bitcoin to me, there's always one little pocket where I have to suspend all logic I have and just nod and go, "Oh, that's how it has value." Oh.
Yeah,
it's an international currency. It isn't owned or regulated by any federal or any political governmental bodies. So that's
correct.
That's
but
why
but I don't know how it has value to begin with. It's mine.
Do you want me to explain it to you?
Blockchain. Yeah, but I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to.
No, it'll be super simple.
I might get it, but I won't know why that means that it has to have a value.
Let me explain it to you.
Do. We'll watch James's head pop off.
Bitcoin, look at it like a supercomputer, right? And in fact, let's even make it easier. Let's pretend DeanBlundell.com is Bitcoin coin, and each individual one of us are coins, right? And everybody buys part of what we do. And some might buy me, some might buy Lachlan, and everybody's like, I'm going to put all of my money into this thing that doesn't lose value, and it goes up every day, and it's a wild swing. But the government can't touch that, so I'm going to put my money there. I'd rather get paid first into that Bitcoin account. So long story short, it would be like people putting a value on us, placing their money with us, and us being worth all kinds of money and then splitting us up and selling us in little chunks to different people or selling different parts of us to different people. And then all of a sudden, this big house that we live in, this big Bitcoin house, which is DeanBlundell.com, is worth X amount per coin, right? If you don't understand that, I can't help.
No, but hold on a second though. But we can measure our value based on the content that we have, based on the traffic that comes through our podcast or whatever. Now, what is the analogy to establish the value for the coin? What's
supply and demand?
Content?
How many people are going in to buy it, and how many people are selling it? supply of a
Who's
space
trading
on
it, I guess.
space on a supercomputer.
Okay. Well, my knowledge of
not-
supercomputer,
but
my
the other
knowledge of supercomputers begins and ends with Richard Pryor in Superman 3. So I'm not
the other problem is that it's not infinite, right? It does have
Well, that's
a
what
beginning,
gives
a
it
middle,
value,
and an
apparently.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other confusing part about it, Dean. Right? Like
it's all speculative. Like it's all what it might be, what it might not be. It's almost like people are buying what they think might happen. If that makes any sense. Oil futures would be a good example. Anyway, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it after.
No,
I'll be right back. I'm just going to go get my helmet, and I have no idea.
wonder. I have no money. I'm never going to have Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't
You have
it either.
Bitcoin. Remember the guy gave it to us.
Yeah, but I don't know how to get to it. I don't know where it is. Like he
It's
sent
in
me
your
some
ShakePay
fucking
wallet.
email.
It's probably worth nothing now because it went down so much. Anyway, long story short, that's what these guys are after.
Can
and
I
last
cash
night,
it out?
yeah,
Buy
for sure,
beer with it?
anytime. It's probably worth $1,500 now. $1,500
and
bucks.
the
You know
way
how many
they
bridge
established the
packs it
value
buys?
for that Bitcoin is crazy. Ask Dean about that
Are you
later.
telling me my $500 Bitcoin might be worth $1,500 now?
Dude, I cashed out before Christmas at $2,000. Yeah.
You know what's
That's how
funny?
this
I
works.
fucking never did it.
You didn't? Oh, well, you missed out.
I did something. I don't know what I did.
I'll help
did
you
it on
figure it out
air.
in your ShakePay wallet. I don't want to talk about it today. What I want to talk about is this Elon Musk tweet. Did you see this?
Stop comparing me to just. I had a budget. What?
Yeah. So
It's
he
just
puts
not
up a
even
picture
good.
of Adolf Hitler, and Elon Musk, richest guy in the world, puts up a picture of Hitler, and the meme says, "Stop comparing me to Justin Trudeau. I had a budget." So he's calling Justin Trudeau Hitler and a dictator, and trying to separate himself from, or trying to aggrandize himself into the process by pointing out that he was able to lead a revolution without a budget. What do we think of that, James?
Well, what he's saying is that Justin Trudeau's running ridiculously high deficits.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
But all government. What does he? Has he?
I'm not defending
looked at
Elon
his-
Musk.
Are you
I think this
missing?
is the
Are
most
you missing
ridiculously
the
unfunny
massive
tweet
picture
I've
of
ever
Adolf
seen.
Hitler in the middle of this meme?
No, I think it's the most ridiculously unfunny tweet I've ever seen. But I think the joke he was trying to say is stop comparing me to Trudeau. I'm out of Hitler because I actually had money to support the crazy tyrannical ideas that I'm implementing. I think that's the joke, and it's stupid and not funny. But
Lock.
everything about this tweet is ridiculous.
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand why he wants to insert himself into this thing, this conversation. Right?
And you know why it's sloppy? Because Trudeau has a budget.
And isn't the United States $3 trillion in debt or something?
Like, even more
like
than that.
20.
Yeah, they're being kept afloat by Chinese money. Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, it's fucked. It's I wanted to get your opinion on it because I don't have an opinion on it. I was looking at it and everybody's angry.
I don't know.
Anytime someone sees Nazi stuff, they're like, "Fuck you, Nazi." But I wanted to know. Of course, the image is fucking gross, right? Anytime someone uses that as a joke, it's not a joke. At least I don't think it's a fucking joke.
I don't think you should be using that. I mean, it's Elon Musk and he's got Asperger's, right? Like he announced that on Saturday Night Live when he hosted last year. So I don't know if that's an excuse, but he has a different brain pattern. Like it's a different. He's on a.
It was probably a response to Bill Maher's remarks. It was probably at least inspired by it because Bill Maher called Trudeau Hitler, and then 2 days later, Elon Musk puts that meme out. So I'm sure that there's a whole bunch of memes about.
And
Trudeau
you know
Hitler
what?
Stuff.
If you compare what a leader of Canada can get away with, and what the leader of the United States of America can get away with, based on how the laws are set up, and based on the difference between our Charter of Rights and our Constitution, and Justin Trudeau doesn't even touch the powers of the head office in the States, like.
No, but you remember Hillary Clinton
sitting
had
right-
that moment or during
Executive
the election where she was like, where she referred to Republicans in a sloppy way. I think she was probably referring to like the fringe, and called them deplorables.
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau has had like a half dozen moments like that just this year.
Well,
where
there's like a whole bunch of people that have their Twitter
not
accounts that
defending
says, because he called them the fringe, right? You remember in that interview in French, he's like a fringe racist, fringe this. You're right. I mean, he fucking kettled himself by doing it. He just pissed him off even more. But everybody started putting, to your point, James, the word fringe in their Twitter bio if they were for this convoy, right? That's how I've been. That's just how I've known to block people for the past 2 weeks.
Well, Justin Trudeau is not a good leader, and the thing is we've got outside interest and outside eyes and ears on Canada right now, and they have no idea how bad a leader he is. But if the dictator conversation is odd to me, because the way our government is set up, and again, this is all just grade 11 social studies, but the way our government is set up, there's no fucking way. I mean, even in this Emergencies Act, I think it's kind of pointless. And that's not me defending the convoy. I just think, listen, you should have done something earlier at the beginning of this. And if you had, maybe we wouldn't be here. 2, if you were not as despised as you are, like he is despised across the board, we might not also be where we're at, right? It's
I think he's despised out west far more than he's despised here. He has a ton of support here in Eastern Canada.
Yeah, well, you guys put him in power again.
I mean, the last election, that support was watered down.
I get a you guys me from the fucking Alberta chair here on a daily basis. Oh, you guys, you fucking put him in power. We did.
Okay, so listen, let's pull this back, because I want to talk about Melissa Landsman versus Justin Trudeau, because like we know he's a virtue signaling wiener, right? Like we get that. Dude, I wrote an article that said, and I say this all the time, I'm happy to actually, here, I'll show it to you. I was the person who wrote this. Justin Trudeau is a national embarrassment. That was July 8th of this last year, 2021, because I hate the fucking virtue signal. And I agree with you. His leadership has been incredibly weak. But I'm all about the country. I'm all about the whole, right? What's bad for the hive is bad for the bee right now. So I want to make sure that I'm sticking up for Canada and not placating him or telling everybody I think he's great and we got to rush behind him. We need to rush behind common sense so that we can all get back to fucking whatever it was that we were merging into after the pandemic. That's the key. That's important to me. And the fact that these people are trying to hurt others is also a fucking major problem for me, which we've already covered. So I don't want to go down that road. However, where hate is concerned, something fascinating happened yesterday in the House of Commons, which is fucking weird for me to say. During question period, Trudeau and Melissa Landsman, right? Melissa Landsman, if you remember, was the Conservative MP that helped kickstart this bullshit alt-white racist movement into Ottawa and all across the country with her tweet of empty shelves. That was a bullshit lie stock tweet that she stole or paid for.
Oh, that's
Do you remember that? Yeah,
Yes,
so she was the one who really kickstarted this thing, and I was so fucking disappointed that she did it because I thought she might have had morals. I also found out she was a lobbyist for Walmart for a long period of time, so if you wonder about supply chain issues, she should know a little bit more than the average person. So not only did she cook up a massive fucking lie inside a fake picture to help start and fund this,
and she never retracted it, did she?
Not once, and including the link to go and donate. The link to go and donate. So not only did she do that, after all the Nazis and the weirdos with the swastikas came in, she didn't say a fucking word. And then in question period yesterday, Justin Trudeau asked her about it. He said, hey, we cannot have politicians mixing with people carrying around swastikas and flags of Nazi flags and shit. Like it's a fucking, this is a hate group that came here to hurt Canada, which I agree with. I don't agree with him. I agree with that. This is that exchange. And then we'll get to the next video. Hang on.
Hopeful vision for public life isn't a naive dream. It could be a powerful force for change. If Canadians are to trust their government needs to trust Canadians. Those are the words of the Prime Minister in 2015. These people, very often misogynistic, racist, women haters, science deniers, the fringe. Same Prime Minister 6 years later as he fans the flames of an unjustified national emergency. So, Mr. Speaker, when did the Prime Minister lose his way? When did it happen?
You're right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Conservative Party members can stand with people who wave swastikas. They can stand with people who wave the Confederate flag. We will choose to stand with Canadians who deserve to be able to get to their jobs, who be able to get their lives back, These illegal protests need to stop, and they will, Mr. Speaker.
Anyway, you don't need to listen to the yelling and the screaming that goes on in the background, but she asked him for an apology because she is Jewish and her parents are Holocaust survivors. So she asked him for an apology after telling him what he said 6 years ago, which stood in contradiction to what he said about this fringe group, and they are a fringe group. Keep in mind, Melissa also has a history of tweeting things and saying things. Let me bring this up. This is from 3 years ago. She said, I think it's reasonable to denounce this, speaking of hate, Nazism, etc. And she's, that's not the fucking one. Where is it? Is it this one? Oh, I got the wrong one. She says it's reasonable to denounce this without any being prompted and with reasonable time. Anything else leaves doubt that it's pretty uncomfortable if we're actually focused on winning and growing as a community. She also then said that she was totally fine with anybody that kettles someone for pretending to be a Nazi. Literally, she said that. She said that 2 or 3 years ago. And now that someone has said, hey, you need to denounce Nazism, she asked for an apology. In 2018, she was begging people to stop commiserating with people that flew swastikas and Nazi flags and commiserating with people that loved that hate group. And there she was asking for an apology for facilitating this group that obviously had those leanings. And I am hard-pressed. If she's in the government, I'm hard-pressed to know that she had no idea that was going to happen. Like, fucking really hard-pressed.
But the problem I have with it is that he should not have said what he said in the House of Commons. Is that fair? Like,
no.
He is making a broad, sweeping claim about the protesters as a whole. And I think that's the biggest issue we're dealing with right now, right across the country, because mainstream media is doing the same thing. Again, I understand why it happens. It's the juiciest piece of fruit on the tree. If you go to a protest, there's 1,000 people there and there's 10, weird flags, and there's, some dude with a swastika, you know what I mean? So what's happened is we have basically painted this entire demonstration and this protest in that light. We've done it here. Mainstream media is doing it. And that's what's making things worse, is that, you know what, there is a group of people that are there that might not necessarily espouse those views, right? And so for the Prime Minister, who needs to be held accountable to a higher standard, in my opinion, gets up in the House of Commons during question period and does exactly what's happening across the country that's just obviously adding to the division. I get why they're so riled up in there. Like, I understand that reaction to it.
I would say two things happened in that clip that you showed, Dean. One of them was that, to Lachlan's point, Justin Trudeau took the sloppy, lazy route when describing what was happening outside. And but if you listen to the language, he was attributing it to like the party, not Melissa. And so that's the second part. That's the other cheap thing about this, is the fact that she made it about herself. When everyone that was in that house knows that Justin Trudeau has 3 or 4 scripted responses that he'll say every time during question period, anticipating whatever question is coming up. So he got the question about convoy's great. And so his brain went to the rebuttal list and he started talking about what was verbatim in that rebuttal. And she just happened to be Jewish. There's no way, it's impossible. And I don't like the guy that he was like, oh, I'm going to get this lesbian Jewish lady. And I'm going to do it right now by mentioning the swastika. There's no way that he did that like premeditatively. Not a chance.
So what do you mean? I agree with you. What do you mean there's no way he should have said what? Like he should have said the stuff he did a couple of weeks ago, or in question period, there's no way he should have said your party should not be commiserating with people that fly those flags. Because let me just quickly bring this up. Melissa, and this was the tweet I was looking for.
But I don't think he should be saying it in that setting.
Well, she said it 3 years ago when she tweeted February 25th, 2018, 1:37 p.m., calling on someone to denounce Nazi isn't trashing anyone. If it is, then no, I'll never be tired of it. Our party should never be a place for this. He asked them to denounce what was going on with those people in that protest. Not only did she not do it, she then hit back and asked for apology because she said my parents are Holocaust or my family's Holocaust survivors and I'm Jewish.
You know what she's doing? She's trafficking in her identity intersectionality. I know that sounds like a conspiracy almost, but she feels that she has a veneer of protection being gay and being Jewish, and maybe she should. I have no idea about that particular point, but she behaves like a person who thinks to herself, oh, they can't attack me for this because I'm this or that. And I think that
hiding behind an identity, yeah.
So she's like the wokest conservative, I would say.
Can I bring up an example that?
Can I play you her clip from Fox News last night because she was on Lauren?
Play that, and then I'll bring up an example of where I think this should have gone. Like some of this stuff should have gone.
Well, I'll play it for you. So I agree with James totally that the intersection that she is trying to play in right now has more to do about her hiding behind the identity that she's curating. I completely agree with that. This is her. She was asked to go on Fox News last night where she continued to hurt Canada on behalf of a group that she is commiserating with that have no problem flying Nazi flags. Here you go.
So we've been calling to an end to these mandates, particularly the cross-border trucking mandate, since earlier this year. We are one of the highest. We've got one of the highest vaccination rates, and we also have we are the country with the highest, most draconian restrictions. So if he wants to end this today, he could have done that 19 days ago before putting forward a national emergency that is not justified. He could have gone out and talked to people rather than calling them racist and misogynist, and we could have put an end to this. He can drop the mandates and he can drop the restrictions today, and I think that we will have a much more cohesive country.
What do we make of that shit?
Okay, well, can I give the example? Yeah, and I hope this doesn't muddy the waters, but one of the things that I don't know that is being widely reported across the country about the Coots demonstration, which was the border crossing in Alberta, right? So they put trucks on the border, blocked any trade coming in and out. And they were there for, 10 days, something like that. Now, during the process of trying to remove the blockade that the Alberta government, the UCP government, the RCMP went in and made some arrests. And they arrested 13 individuals. I think it was, and again, I'm going to have some of the facts, so don't hang me out to dry here on this, but I think
13 people with 4 for attempted murder.
Yes, so 4 people out of the 13, so it was 4.
Yeah.
They went to their homes and continued the investigation. What I think happened was somebody on the police force recognized somebody at the blockade and said, I think we need to look into that guy there. Okay. And then that led to a string of arrests, and they were removed. And I guess they're in jail now, or they're out on bail or whatever, but they were removed from the blockade. Now, their involvement in the blockade was that they were there, right? Were they organizers? Maybe not. Were they white supremacists? Probably. They're connected to some far-right groups, blah, blah, blah. There's lots of information out there, right? And rebels reporting one thing, and, and mainstream media is reporting another thing, and so it's just making it worse. So they go to these people's homes, and they find a bunch of firearms, and then they put the firearms and all of these jackets and all this shit on in front of a police car and go, look what we got from the Coots demonstrators. Okay. Now, none of that stuff was at the border. In a roundabout way, most of the reporting that I read made sure that it mentioned that the raid was on their homes, right? But people hear what they want to hear, and doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. Okay. So now automatically that protest is now in the news, and it's being connected to a very like a fringe alt-right group, bunch of guys in jail, some priors, and all of these firearms. The organizers got together that night and said, we got to this isn't what this was. We need to pull out. Have you guys heard that? Like, is that the story you got? Because that's the story. They did not want to be associated with that. And that's what I'm saying about where we're at right now. Everyone's just so fucking mad that all of these little details in these stories. Now, listen, I'm not saying it's right that there's a guy there with a swastika, but there should have been an attempt from the people that were demonstrating that don't want to be associated with that to remove that element fucking immediately and get rid of it. So I'm blaming them. But then the news across the country is this broad sweeping, if you are involved in this, you are a racist and you believe in this, this, and this. And then it just fucking pisses everybody else off. Then the prime minister gets in question period, continues to fucking fuel the flame. I don't care about this woman and whether or not what she's on fire. I am looking at him and going, this is why we're here. We're here because of your lack of leadership. Like, and again,
really
Dean,
though, like no, but these guys
you can't do that.
These guys
as a
had to,
leader.
no, I get it. I agree with
you.
I agree with you. But what you're saying is that what the suggestion I'm getting from you is that they've tried to tie in all the people that are involved in this to the most extreme elements of this, right? But if the most extreme elements of this exist and they existed for months and they only disavowed it when they got caught, I have a problem. I have a problem trying to come onto that side of your fence. I've got a problem trying to figure out where my loyalties lie.
But I'm not trying to justify protest
I know you're not,
them.
But that's the way it kind of comes out. And I know you're not. I know what you're saying is like, listen, if we're going to fucking talk facts, let's dig down and talk about the facts of who those guys were. Let's not call every single person that's there for whatever reason they're there a white supremacist or racist. I completely agree with that. I don't think and I've said this on the podcast 100 times, not every person there is racist, but the ideology behind the organizers that is driving this are. And they don't tell everybody that. And so what they go out
and they don't actively denounce it.
No, and they don't denounce it because they need the numbers. They need the support. And so really it becomes a who gives a fuck? Let's just go with whoever we can find and whoever we can co-op, no matter what their intentions are. And intentions are the most important part of trying to figure out what the fuck happened about every single person that's involved in this and every business as well. Sorry, James. That's my opinion.
That's okay.
I really believe
that's fine. I think that both of you make good points. What I find really interesting about this situation, though, is that there's all these like little pockets, these little stories, and I'm always left going, what was the crime? Are you not allowed to donate money from the United States to Canada?
Yeah.
Is there a terrorist organization lurking in the background using these monies for nefarious purposes? Well, it's not a crime, although it's abhorrent to carry a Nazi flag. We can have that debate, but it's not a crime. I'm just like, I find it really interesting more than anything. I'm not annoyed even. I'm just like, this is a really interesting situation because a largely peaceful protest that annoyed a lot of people and was also very unique because of the characteristic of a shit ton of trucks in the middle of the nation's capital, to your point, Lachlan. But even that, is that a crime? Probably like a loitering, trespassing or something. But because they're nonviolent, I'm like, I don't know what to do because I've been complaining about people blocking traffic for years, and every time I do, it's hilarious. If I do it, Black Lives Matter probably shouldn't block the road because the ambulance might have to get down the street. Racist.
You say it every time.
And then the cab drivers did it, and everyone was like hating them because we were trained to think trendy Uber was the right thing. It's just everything depends on your narrative, and then you look at blocking traffic and you think, Okay, well, I do like it because it's the environment, or I don't like it because it's yellow vesters.
I'll be honest with you, James. Every time there's a protest in Edmonton, we go on the air and go, what are you doing? What are you thinking? It doesn't even matter. We don't even look at what the protest is, or we don't even care what their point is.
Fuck off.
You're blocking traffic. You're pissing people off. It is the
premise.
wrong fucking strategy.
What about the premise behind the protesting too, Locke? And to your point and to James's point, I think we can all agree on this, is that when the fuck did anybody go, you know what, I'm going to be part of that group? When that group stood in the middle of an intersection and prevented everybody from getting home because they wanted to tell everybody how fucking angry they were. Like, that is the shit that and it's about everybody. Like, I fucking hate all protests the same. I hated all the protests in Toronto. Didn't matter what the origin story of that protest was. They can all fuck off because we're busy people trying to get to our busy jobs, to attend our busy lives. And we're trying to fucking get home to feed our families and see our children because we have 2-hour commutes in this fucking city. So, like, I don't give a fuck about protests. I hate them all equally because they get in the way of society. They always have and always will.
But I've always been a little glitchy on that one too, right? Like, that's why at the start of this, I was like, ugh, like, because I think people should be allowed to step up and voice their concerns about where we're at. And you're not always going to agree. You're not always going to side with the guy that's on the street with the placard, right? But what if we get to a point where I feel like I need to, like, I'm getting close, like they're not allowing drinking in parks this summer, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to protest.
Coming from Ontario, that's the most hilarious thing I've ever heard.
We can't drink in parks, James, and
neither can we,
I'm
Lachlan.
take it to the streets.
We haven't been able to drink in parks in, like, what, Dean, like 40 years or something?
Yeah, a
like,
long time. Yeah.
Yeah, since the stubby was a modern, glass.
That's a protest I can get behind, and I don't even fucking drink.
I'm also
but here's the
getting
thing.
into Freedom Week next week.
Yeah, you should.
Fucking not going into work.
But if you're gonna do it, like,
You
if you're
guys on
gonna
this
have a
podcast
protest, can you do it in a park like everybody else does? Like everybody, one of the narratives that comes out of this is like, "Oh, where were you on Black Lives Matter?" I'm like, I hated it. And by the way, where were you on Occupy Wall Street? I'm like, they were in a park, you fuck. And I hated that too. Like, I hate them all. I hate all protests the same.
They were
This one,
downtown
because of how fucking hateful it is, and the people that are organizing it, and how they're misrepresenting so many good people, really makes me sick.
If you're shitting behind
and they
some
haven't
sort
left,
of
like, the
bush
protest isn't over
in a park,
right,
because of something you're upset about, you should be reevaluated. Well, while you're sitting there in -10 weather in Ottawa, and your Carhartt are down around your ankles, and you're taking a shit behind a building.
Yeah.
If you're not,
and you
going,
get a little
what
on the soles of your
fuck,
boots.
maybe I should call my mom. You know,
But
like,
the Ottawa protests have had moments, though, right, where it's like the arson thing was a hoax.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of weird stories like that. Sorry, Lachlan, I didn't mean to take the steam out of your joke, but.
Oh, dude! Like, listen. Do you remember like a couple weeks ago when
I
the
love
lead?
shitting outside. Not that we
Yeah,
didn't
me
get
too.
into that.
Shitting outside is the best.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you
I'm
remember a
gonna write a
couple
song
weeks ago?
about
For everybody that is like, "Hey, you only take on the alt right. What about the crazies on the left?" Do you remember Bernie Farber from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network that was like handing out? He was like handing out fake pamphlets of Jewish hate or something like that.
Yeah.
I took him to task with that thing because I'm like, "You're a fucking idiot too, right?" It's
and then he couldn't even admit it. He was like,
I know.
It turns out this was from a few weeks ago in Miami. But he said something like, but the greater point of hatred at this, It's just like,
greater point of this fake hatred that I'm perpetuating. Yeah, that's the thing is we'll take on everybody. Doesn't matter who. But one of the things that happened yesterday, did you see the dude on the balcony? Talking like
I
Randy
love
from
this
the Trailer
video.
Park
I
Boys.
have had like 40 people share this with me.
This guy needs to be a Canadian heritage moment. Watch this. He's above his balcony, right in the heat of the action, and he has had enough, and he starts fucking giving it to the degenerates below. Watch this.
Make sure it's clear. Fuck you. Shut up. Shut up and go fuck yourself. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck about you. Go the fuck home. Nobody fucking cares about your bullshit. Walk around with your fucking tailgate party and your goddamn nonsense. Nobody fucking cares. Exactly. Put your fucking camera away. Shut up your fucking ass, piece of shit. You dumb fucking cunt. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. There, you got my fucking statement last time? Fuck off. Go
See, that's where we're at, Dean. That's where we're at, and that's why I'm getting angry about the setbacks in this whole thing. Right? We can sit here, we can assess blame, we can talk about the organizers are this, and that's part of the reason why we're here. The cops should have done this. The cops did a good job doing this. Our leaders are doing nothing. Our leaders are doing too much. I mean, it's a cluster fuck. It is so messed up. So.
It's still super interesting though, because like, just one more comparison, because I love this game. You know, the idea that Trudeau's a tyrant we think is ridiculous. The idea that Trudeau is some sort of weird dictator we think is ridiculous. The leader of the founder of Black Lives Matter once said that Justin Trudeau was a white supremacist terrorist, and that white people were subhuman. And a year and a half later, she won a leadership award in Toronto. So there's still hope for Pat King. That's all I'm really trying to say. You know?
As long as he keeps wearing those blouses.
He looks great, doesn't he?
I'm just happy that comic book guy's estranged brother was able to find, you know, a role in life that he was happy with.
Not bad, yeah. He does look like comic book guy, doesn't he?
He does, I know.
Like fucking exactly like him. This video fucking took my breath away today. Speaking of people who are tired of it, as you said, here's where we are. Look at this old cat outside giving it to this truckette. He's got a pot, and he's got a fucking ladle, and he's giving her right in the ears of the truckers, and he is not fucking going anywhere. Watch this.
Take your hands up. I know. Take your hands away from you, but you're going to put that in everybody's ears? Yeah. Just all the horns. Get away from me now, or your hand might get hit.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? He's like, all of us people, and you're going to put that in our ears. Listen to this guy. He can't believe this guy who's been honking for 4 weeks is mad about the pot and the ladle. Listen.
You want her to take your hands away from you, but you're going to put that in everybody's ears? Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I am. I'm going to do it.
That's right.
Watch
Dude,
me.
look at that. That fucking pot's beat up. Like he's been.
Your hand might get hit by a stick. You're not. That's the last thing you will ever do, my friend. I promise you.
See,
that's
where
brilliant.
we're at.
No, but it's brilliant. It's so simple. Hey guys, watch. I'm going to create a whole bunch of hypocrisy in a moment. Come on. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what he did. It's great.
This is where we're at.
His face. And he won't stop. He's following this fucking dude in his Skidoo jacket and his Tim Hortons mug and his Canada hat, and he's like right in his face with it. Go fuck yourself. I'm so sick of this.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. This is where we're
Everything
at.
is about hypocrisy.
We got an email complaint this morning, and I quickly responded before I left work. And this woman, Carrie, commented that she's sick and tired of me talking about politics, and that I interrupted the news. Right, so I didn't get into the. I'm not supposed to talk about politics. Have you been paying attention, ma'am? But I did say, I said, hey, listen, I get it. We're all at a point. We're all at a point where, you know, the division and the anger and the negativity is just chewing away at us. Although if you listen to our show for any length of time, I mean, we kind of give you a little bit of a break from that. She commented about how I've never talked about politics before. And I'm like, I have been talking about politics my whole fucking career. So this isn't a new thing, ma'am. And then she was like, and you're interrupting the news, which, by the way, I don't know if you did this, Dean.
All the time.
Yeah, but I have been doing that my entire career.
And so feverishly that every boss I ever had would sit me down and go, can you not interrupt the news guy? And I'm like, it's probably not going to happen. I have to.
So you had the best job.
So then I responded with, I think what we're dealing with here, Carrie, is that I have all of a sudden started saying something that you don't agree with.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, we lost you as a listener. I hope your day gets better. Send. Right? But that's the problem. That's the issue, right? We're hearing what we want to hear. Yeah. And if it fits into the narrative, like, you know, if at one point I'm on your side, I hate Trudeau, and then all of a sudden I maybe say something negative about the convoy, or we make fun of the convoy, which we've been doing, that doesn't necessarily fit your narrative. Then all of a sudden, I've become this political monster on your morning radio, your favorite radio show.
Well,
Right?
you play
You
the
understand
role
it?
of the guy with the ladle in the pot, because that was real time hypocrisy. Because there's no way that guy that was complaining about the noise didn't make an argument last week for horns blaring. It's impossible that didn't happen. So
I love this guy. I hope
love
he
him
didn't
too.
get beat up.
He probably did
Again,
when he was a young boy. But
Can we say this though? Like let's just say this. This gives me a little bit of hope. Not that he's being a dick and he's out there trying to point
How
out
about the
their
fact he's being
hypocrisy.
swarmed by a group of people that have been honking for 4 weeks just to stop him from banging on a pot?
But I'm
this
just
is the
saying,
most interesting video clip of the entire fucking convoy, I think.
and this is so Canadian.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if that's the States, he's getting his ass handed to him by those guys.
Or shot.
right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean that.
It's a beautiful moment.
I got to be honest with you. I have been a little bit anxious today with the ongoing news and the obvious attempt to remove them physically, thinking, man, I hope this doesn't end in violence. I swear to God. I mean,
too.
I joke that I have, I hope they go
I
in
wouldn't
there,
mind
guns
seeing a
blazing.
tasering, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I swear to God, I don't. I
No
still
one wants to see
want
anybody
this
here
to
get hurt.
Even if I don't agree with them, I don't want anybody to get hurt.
I wouldn't mind seeing Pat King get hurt on his Facebook Live.
I
think
would be
someone
okay
should
with
come
that.
up behind him and cut off his ponytail. That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, because he's always on Facebook Live. It'd be great to just see him get swarmed on his Facebook Live. Like, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, even him.
Just taser Pat.
Just him. Yeah, just
Oh
taser Pat.
man, and there's a lot of shit in there too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like he's gonna explode.
And he wears jogging pants all the time too, so that's gonna leave a stain.
Yeah.
Imagine what
Speaking
his
of
paint
stains,
smells like. That would be
No,
disgusting, guys.
I don't want to.
I don't know why.
Speaking of stains, I went for lunch yesterday I had a business lunch, like a work lunch, and
Where's this
this
going?
guy's like, "Well, I'll tell you in a second. I got another video. It's the end of the show. This is my last thing, so I saved this for last. It was a surprise for you guys." So you know how Rebel News and Ezra Levent is the biggest chud on the planet, grifter, piece of shit, asshole, lies,
He'd make a
cheats,
fine butt plug,
invents
though.
news. He would make an incredible butt plug for a group of bears. But so I found out yesterday at lunch, which is Wednesday, that on Monday they started producing like hit pieces on us. Has anybody read one?
No.
We're a
oh,
rebel?
cool. That's awesome. Did my
Did they
name come
mention
up?
me? Did they mention me?
I knew I had to get in front of that because I knew that was coming from James.
Yeah.
Did they say anything about me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But we were also highlighted in a big Fox News report yesterday as well.
Fuck off.
Oh yeah, dude, we're big time now. We made the
This
big
is
time.
awesome. This has all with you leaking that list.
Yeah, I didn't leak the list.
Wait, do you guys
I
smell that?
posted a
It's
link to the list,
Oh my god!
and
the
it's
best,
broken now, so you can't even get it. Right?
the best butt
What's
plug name ever, Tucker.
Tucker,
That's a good.
the
yeah.
Tucker Carlson butt plug.
I still want to know what a
Get it
chud
Little
now.
is.
Tucker.
What's a chud?
Just a piece of shit, like
Okay.
like entrails, like, the shit that's always left over, the placenta, the afterbirth of the world. A chud.
Okay. A
That's what
chud?
Ezra is. Yeah.
Chud
Which we
butt
know, right?
plug.
Like Rebel News is a news. They're just a fucking a grifting alt-right joke.
It's
And
cannibalistic
the
humanoid
thing-
underground dweller. By the way, it was what Chud is. But
That is cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller. He's a chud.
that's right.
So yesterday, someone sent this to me after they were like, "Hey, do you know these guys are coming after you?" I'm like, haven't heard anything. Why? What are they saying? And he's like, "Oh, these girls, apparently Rebel hired these millennial girls to do like this, like, oh my God show. Like, I'm not even kidding you. So they hired these two young girls who between them, and I'll play you the whole clip in just a second. And you're welcome, ladies. I'm happy to help you out. So keep in mind, these girls did a minute and a half on me on some Rebel News clip thing on their YouTube channel, calling me irrelevant, washed up, and they kept going on, and they were going through all of our stuff. I want
You
you
say
to
that
watch
shit all the time.
what, irrelevant or washed up?
Washed up and irrelevant?
Your
You're not
lines
irrelevant.
for yourself.
I'm irrelevant, washed up all the time. Yeah, you can't
What do
hit
you-
me with something I say about me, like ever, right? So clearly these dumb broads didn't do their homework. But let me just play you the video.
I am very excited about this.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. It is incredible because these girls are trying to do like Girls in the Office, like the Barstool Sports shit, but they're both like way too dumb to be in media or even be in front of a camera.
We'll
Not
be the
awful.
judge of that.
Okay, well, here, you let me know what you think of this.
So this week, this old boomer named Dean Blundell, who used to be on The Edge, he had a radio program there. Now he's just kind of like this old, grumpy old man who is trying to get people murdered. So he tweeted out that he had a list of all the people that donated to Give, Send, Go for the truckers convoy. Yeah. But the thing that was the shocking point of all this at the end of his little blog article, which is so cute because he has a blog, it's very cute.
Aww.
Yes, so the pro tip that he wrote, Trudeau is calling a state of emergency to give people their city back. I guess I shouldn't have said that. We'll bleep it. And I think you might see some guys' heads get freedom from their shoulders. Okay, Dean. You okay, bud?
You okay, Dean?
You okay?
I mean, are you just so sad that no one knows who the hell you are? Is that why you're going to great lengths to be such a jerk?
Who the
He's
fuck
also
are you?
saying, hey, guess what, guys? Tune in because, pro tip, you're going to get to see some decapitations. Like, I think he actually thinks the police, the state of emergency, the police are going to go in and start cutting people's heads off.
Marie Antoinette, that time in history is gone. We can't do that anymore.
We don't cut off people's heads that we don't agree with anymore, Dean.
No, and my favorite part is that he mentioned that this isn't the first time Give, Send, Go has funded an insurrection. Sorry, what? This is not an insurrection. Like the truckers convoy, it's literally just people making pancakes and dancing.
It's like little kids being like, yay, Canada.
I love truckers. I want to be one.
Yeah, that's not an insurrection, my friend.
Misunderstood. What is that? That's amazing.
I love
Does
it.
the one girl understand that she's wearing the Caroline Ingalls, bed clothing? Did you see that?
Is she wearing a tablecloth? I didn't see. Let's
So
have a look
this
again.
week-
Oh yeah, look at her. Look at her. She's wearing a.
You can picture her climbing up the ladder at Paul Ingalls' house. Like,
yeah, dude, she's for like an extra in Little House on the fucking Prairie or something like
No,
that.
that's a tablecloth. There's some like you put your plates on the mat.
Ladies, great job. I don't know
You're
who
doing great
either of
work.
you are, but you're guaranteed either related to someone that works there, and you did that for free. And I know you did it for free, and it was cute, and it was fun, and it was your moment. I'm glad you got a chance to talk about someone nobody talks about, by the way.
The old boomer Dean.
Boomer. And what is Boomer? Because I'm 49. Is that Boomer, or is Boomer like over 60?
No, you're
Gen
10,
X.
15
Gen X.
years off.
Gen X.
So
And also,
I'm suing them for lying about my
I'm
age.
52 and I'm Gen X. No, Boomer is my mom.
The sad part about this is
65,
that this show's not going to last, and then it's back to naked news for these two. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, I have a question. What's the name of the show?
I don't know. I
Was
couldn't
at
tell
the
you.
end. Play the end. The end
here,
has
check.
the name of the show.
Okay. Fuck, relax. I'm getting there. This is incredible. It is. I think it's called Misunderstood. Brought to you by.
Oh
That's
my
a great
God,
word
shut up.
for it.
dude,
Misunderstood.
That's
Brought
what
to
I
you by
would have
Rebel
called
News.
it.
Misunderstood.
You know what's funny? Because another complaint I got this week, I've been getting them a lot of them. The guy sent me ass hats. You got the news wrong, and sent me a link to the article that corrected the news. It was about something we had said, and it was to an article in Western Standard, which is another Rebel News publication. It's
Yes,
owned
it
by
is.
Ezra. So I
Ezra Lecoq.
I emailed him back a link to the Apple podcast for Rebel News. Just
Is
said
there one?
Godspeed.
Have a great time. Can I just quickly? This is a
You may
screenshot
want
I
to
took.
watch this.
Tell me this chick isn't going to end up behind bars at some point.
She
for
looks like her
killing
father
her
does her
boyfriend in
hair.
his sleep. Our dad probably did it.
She looks like she's about to marry her third husband. Oh no, it's the other way around. No,
You know,
she's
and
about
the
to marry a
outfit
guy
made it-
with
Mormon, it's fine.
The outfit made it look like she was going to marry her third cousin, actually, not her third husband.
No, she is about to enter a family with 3 other wives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I don't know who these chicks are, but man, that was cute. That was funny.
Fantastic. Okay, hold on. What's the Fox News shit?
Oh, hold on. Before you go there, I just want to say the most offensive thing of that clip that you just played was the fact that they called it a little blog. It's almost like they were like, Dean has a little dick. Like it felt like, and I hate it when people call me a blogger. I don't like it. I
love it.
Yeah, I know you do because you don't care about that stuff.
No,
but like,
no, blog schmuck is like, I don't know if these people understand this, but bloggers and podcasters are eating everyone's dick right now.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, they're
not
that.
even a blog. Like
us.
they're just an alt-right site run by a fat fuck.
I wonder what kind of traffic they get. I think they probably not that, but
pretty
I mean,
good.
Rebel
And the
News
crazies
overall,
love them, dude. The
they
crazy
love
fucking people love them. Yeah, and they do like every single thing Rebel does comes with a fundraiser. So this whole trucker thing which isn't a trucker thing, and Ezra's absolutely involved in this, and he's absolutely going to get caught up in this. Watch. That's why they did that, because Ezra's such a pussy. He won't come after me. So he sends like his buddy's 2 dumb daughters to go and do like a 1.5-minute vignette going, are you serious? Like decapitations? Like fucking really? Like really? Because he's that much of a fucking plug. He legitimately is. He has like absolutely no credibility anywhere. And his whole goal is, I don't care how much they get hated. How many fucking dumb people can I steal from today? That's what he does. And those
probably
two,
called Krista
those
Ford
two
like
hot
a dozen
babes
times in the past week.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And these 2 hot babes are all over it because they got no life and they clearly are not bright. That would be the tough part, is walking around that dumb. Go ahead, Locke.
What's the Fox News mentioned? Did you get mentioned on Fox News? I gotta see. Do you have a clip?
Yeah. No, it's not a clip. It's like from a news story. So Ilhan Omar was very upset that the donor list was leaked. And she's like, you should never release people's information, which we didn't. And Fox News took great pain to paint me as one of the main guys. That's he released this thing and it's terrible.
Such a favor,
it's like,
though.
they fucking, yeah, and then they lump me in like, so did CTV, CBC, The Washington Post, all these like really with the exception of CTV, all these big MSM. I'm like, I came first.
Go on Tucker. Let's get you on Tucker. Let's do it.
Fucking fuck himself.
No, but that's
I would do Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
I'd eat his.
Like if he had a show with those chicks, it would be like bow ties and brain cells or something.
Yeah,
it'd be amazing. I would love to see you on Tucker Carlson, man. You have to.
I would go on Tucker Carlson.
The thing about Tucker is every once in a while he'll reach into the other side and pull them in. It's usually a fairly cordial conversation, but I have heard some clips with some people that don't necessarily agree with his views.
And he gets like super pissy after they leave too. Like have you ever seen him get in an argument?
But you got to
with
give him
anybody?
credit for that, right? Like he reaches in.
Fucking hate that guy. He's fucking
His
losing
confused
what
look
he's
is the
talking
best.
about.
He's like,
yeah. Well.
So funny.
Anyway, yeah, it's nice. I like sticking my finger in the light socket. It's fun.
Yeah,
it really is.
What are you gonna do? And by the way, ladies.
Yeah. Hi, I starred in a 1977 horror film. How about you?
Ladies, whatever you do, don't take fashion advice from this hoog. Whatever you do. She's dressed like an Amish hooker.
Amish hookers would be allowed to use condoms because that's technically a tool, right? Like,
well, is she not? She's like, come on. She's dressed like an Amish
I
prostitute.
actually know a guy that went to a settlement with the sole purpose of, and they paid him, of impregnating.
That didn't happen.
Yes, I know a guy.
He lied to you.
Impregnating. Wait.
Okay, you got to tell the story. In Western Canada, they have these colonizations called Hutterite colonies.
Yeah.
Hutterite colonies are where people like this hot babe, they all dress like her. So they're like Orthodox German farmers, effectively, right? So they are, and they have these communities. They're called Hutterites. Yeah. Amish. They like in Canada, they're called Hutterite, and in the States, they're called Amish.
They're completely self-sufficient. The problem is they don't often get a contribution
outside semen,
outside gene pool. So every once in a while, they offer up an opportunity, I fucking swear to God, James, I know
it's
he's
true.
dying here, but I swear to God, they offer up.
That's right.
And it's very clinical, and one of the elders has to be in the room, and they, and we don't need to get into any details.
Well, let me tell you how it happens.
They put
I've only heard myths
tablecloth over the.
And they put a lady they back up a lady against the tablecloth, and there's a hole in the tablecloth, and then the outside guy comes in, and he acts like the stick man. He gives them an outsider baby, and all of a sudden
He gets
the
his
bloodlines are better. Yeah,
$75 or whatever, $100, because they have such
$75.
He got paid.
No,
the guy. Yes,
he lied to you.
No,
dude. This is a fucking.
When
myth.
I was
These
in
are
the band, when I was in the
mythical
Eddie Van
stories.
Whalens, and we were touring around Alberta and Saskatchewan, I met this guy. Swear to God, and we
This
were.
guy's like. This guy goes. It's totally true. Chris Young
I
says
am
it's
fucking
true.
telling you, this happens.
I don't know.
Yes, and I think he said he got $75.
Come on.
And a pig. Like you get a slaughtered pig for the freezer.
Did he get a pig too? And like 12 pounds of snow peas. It's funny because that's what happens there. You go to these guys and you go get 12 sides of beef and 1 million pounds of snow peas. That's why you go to them. They're master farmers, right? So
Side of pork. Oh, the 12 pounds of snow peas.
I got laid. I got pork tenderloin, and I got 1,200,000 pounds of snow
and
peas.
they do it because they have some issues with
Inbreeding.
being too close to and some problems occur, right? Like some of the kids come out and they're not necessarily.
Elaine says, I used to live in Saskatchewan, and yes, they do. It's common knowledge.
And this was a Saskatchewan boy, and he was talking to, like, I can't imagine signing up for that, but if you met this guy, I understand, like, he was wired a different way.
Oh, this is cool. Kristen Corral comes in. She goes, I'm an ex-Hutterite. Trust me, there's plenty to pick on them for. I don't want to pick on them, but Kristen, if you're watching, did that happen? Did they used to bring outside stick guys in to hit that? See, this person, same thing. It's a myth. Michelle, she says, my husband was told the same story, moved to Central Alberta. Wasn't sure if it was the guy trying to recruit my husband. She says, no, Diener. No, didn't happen. She didn't see it, and she was a Hutterite. I'm thinking your buddy lied to you because I've heard not true.
Okay,
it is not true.
I have been hearing stories like that, and
I knew it.
Again, I never met anybody until like 5, 6, 7 years ago when I was still in the band, and then we were drinking with this guy, and then he started telling the story, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! It's fucking
he
crazy.
lied. I knew
he
it was
didn't
a
get the
lie.
snow peas though. Dean made that up.
I would do it. I would do it
for 12 pounds of snow peas.
12. I would do it for a bunch of fresh veg and a whole bunch of ground beef. I would.
Throw in a dozen eggs, or two dozen eggs. That's awful. It's awful.
And yeah, I'll have sex with her through that hole.
It probably looked a lot like that tablecloth that they covered her up with. Probably looked a lot like that chick's shirt.
Yeah, you know what they use? You know what they use for those? This chick's shirt.
We should probably cut this out of the replay.
It's staying in. We didn't say anything negative about any Hutterites.
Just
we just said that
occasionally,
was a
people
rumor.
should be aware.
Ooh.
It should be aware that sometimes we edit stuff out when we repost this stuff.
I don't. Kristen, the former Hutterite, she said, our mini carrots are the best.
You had me at snow peas, Kristen.
You had me at sheet with a hole in it. Thanks for doing this, man. Fuck.
I gotta go. I have to pee now.
Same. uncontrollably because I'm a boomer, apparently. Fuck. Have a great day. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate you being here.
Fun, thanks.
Good laugh. We'll talk to you soon. Lachlan Cross leaves 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton. Oh, no huddle rights were harmed during the show. Hey, listen, if you're in Ottawa and you think, and this is just a real quick professional courtesy for you. If you're in Ottawa and you think this is just a rally for truckers, you should probably leave like before 7 o'clock tonight. Okay? And don't care why you're there. Don't care how long you've been there. What I care about is you, the human being, and some of you are in for trouble. And it's not just legal trouble either, so you better get out. Just letting you know. As a courtesy, because despite what everybody says on Twitter, I don't want to watch Christians die. I don't want to watch anybody die. I don't want to watch anybody get hurt. I want everybody to get the fuck out, go home, reevaluate your life, hire real lawyers, because there's a $306 million lawsuit that is going to get launched, and this guy's name might be on it. So, but what a time in Canadian history, huh? Wild. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at deanblundell.com. You can also find us and everything we do with all of our podcasts, the deanblundell.com podcast network, about 100 podcasts for you. You get to pick which ones you like, and you can go and sign up for a newsletter and do it there, but go to deanblundell.com and check that out. Also, thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. Easy Auto Financial, helping people get in cars. It doesn't matter about the credit rating. They don't give two shits. They just want to make sure you get the car, and they don't charge you for your financing either. Easy Auto Financial, very good people looking to help you get in a car, and the car that you want, and not have to pay for your financing. Sign up, no obligation today. Go to easyautofinancial.ca. Our friends at domination.com, helping people get into content and making it much easier to do your promos if you're a streamer, gamer, podcaster, etc. Use Domination to cut your promos. So easy. Takes like minutes instead of hours. You get 70 pieces from one file. It is artificial intelligence for gamers, streamers, podcasts, and content creators. Go to domination.com and check them out today. And last but not least, of course, thanks to Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch. Get them on your body. Luxury branded underwear. Dude, they're incredible. Trust me. Ladies, if your husband has terrible Gitch, let me help you. All you got to do is go to edsfineimports.com. Order 3 pairs of Gitch for your hubby. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. And they never pile. They're the most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear. So get them for yourself or for your loved one. edsfineimports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow on the show, really good buddy of mine named Jesse Miller. He's got his master's in media literacy. He also teaches people how to not be extremists online. So we're going to break parts of that down. He's going to join us to talk about what's going on and wherever we are tomorrow, and we'll figure that out together. So Jesse Miller on the program tomorrow. Caryma Saad will be back as well, and she's going to go over whatever breaks down in Ottawa today. But again, folks, listen, if you're not there for the wrong reasons, like if you just think that you want a better Canada and you don't know who's leading you down that garden path to fucking jail and a lifetime of financial servitude and lawsuits, get out. Trust me. Trust me. It's not going to be great. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow at 3. Bye.